since you and Jeff were named co-coordinators, how fluidly has your relationship developed as far as finding that nice mix as far as working together?
You know, not a whole lot has changed. You know, the friendship was there, the relationship was there, and our focus is the young people and doing what's best for them. So we try to keep our egos out of it. And again, that friendship was there from our times as players. And again, there's a couple things we may disagree on, but at the end of the day, we're going to come back together and do what's best for the offense. And so, you know, it just continues to grow every day, but not a whole lot has changed since we were named to the position.
Were there any major kind of unforeseen bumps in the road that you guys maybe didn't expect that you kind of had to work through?
No, the biggest thing is just now taking some of the things that we didn't see Coach Morris do in terms of the organization and divvying those responsibilities up. You know, that's probably the most conversation. But in terms of from a football standpoint, it's very similar to how it was prior to us being named, because we were heavily involved in the game planning. So the biggest thing is just getting used to the separation of the responsibilities from a managerial standpoint.
Going back to the offensive line, God forbid something happens to Mitch, but he tweaks an ankle during a game. Do you trust one of the freshmen to come in? Do you slide Mac over? What happens at that point?
Right, again, you got, obviously, Mac is a very experienced guy that's played a little bit of tackle. You got Joe Gore that you could move. Fru Morgan is really coming on. And like I said, Taylor Hearn really impressed us throughout camp with his ability to play tackle. So we feel good, you know, about our tackle situation if something were to happen to Joe or to Mitch.
What's Maverick Morris's status?
You know, Maverick has played a little bit of tackle. You know, he's settling in at guard, but he's another guy that we've cross-trained, and he could be a guy that if we got into a situation, we could put him out there at tackle. But I'd say right now, obviously, you got Mitch, Joe, Jake, and then Taylor Hearn are the guys right now.
Behind Ryan, who looks like the second option at center?
Jay Guillermo. You know, Jay's really come on. He came back to camp. He hadn't played for a while, but he's gotten himself in shape. He's moving well. He's got a new look on life, got a new attitude. He's a pleasure to be around. He and I got a little bit of a fun relationship going. For some reason, you know, he's kind of clean to me since he came back, but it's good. It's good to see him at the place in his life where he is, and now he's able to get back to doing what he loves and play football.
Has Hyatt been steadily moving forward in the progress you hope to see out of a guy that's been thrown into the fire like he has?
Oh yes, and that was a tough situation. You know, obviously he came here with hopes and expectations of being the starter, but he didn't expect it to happen that fast. Obviously, he thought it was going to be a camp situation where he had to beat out Isaiah Battle, and then now you get thrown in the fire and you're blocking Shaq Lawson, and we all know how good Shaq is. And so you would think a guy that took his lumps, you know, mentally, you know, may not be able to recover as quickly. But I tell you what, he's never backed down. He gets better every day, and now you're starting to see where, you know, he feels confident going out there blocking Shaq. And again, it's a battle every day, but you're starting to see more confidence, and he's starting to use his technique a little bit better.
That whole offensive line has been pretty aligned the last couple of years. Based on who you have right now, do you see fast improvement, steady improvement? Take on that group?
Just like I said, it's a lot of improvement, and the biggest thing is just with the infusion of the young talent. You know, they brought a different mindset. You know, you're talking about Mitch Hyatt, whose uncle played here. You know, he's grown up around the game. You're talking about Jake, whose dad played in the NFL, played at the University of Alabama. You know, Noah is a local guy, you know, that's very serious about football. And then you got Zach Giella coming in. And so those guys have really upped the level of preparation, just the culture in that room, just the nastiness, the toughness that you expect out of offensive line, because it's important to them. And Robbie's done a really good job of giving those guys, you know, an opportunity to go compete and really change that environment in that room.
Coach Sweeney talked the other day about the desire to redshirt Adam Jones. What would it take for that to change?
You know, obviously it's a situation where you got to stay healthy, and we'll travel 5 backs, so we'll have 5 guys, and I think it'd be a situation if you lost 1 or 2 of those guys to a significant amount of time, then you'd have to get him ready to play. But where Adam is I think physically he's ready. I think mentally he's working himself to get there, you know, consistently on a daily basis. I think with the ball he's fine. It's just without the ball, just that confidence and that need to step in there and pass protection and just generating power from that standpoint. He's just not quite as confident there.
Fairly or not, going into this season, Deshaun's going to carry the label of injury prone. Coach Sweeney's talked about it, Deshaun's talked about how it's probably not a fair label, but is it something you've had to help him overcome, and have there been any things that you've done to help alleviate the possibilities?
You know, now that I think about it, I think I may have had one conversation about him, just said, how's the knee, how's it feeling? It's great. But other than that, with Deshaun, what makes him special is he plays on the edge. And I think if you take that away from him and you start to make him think that he's injury prone, then you're going to take what makes him special away from him. So I have had one conversation just to see how he's doing throughout the course of camp, but really haven't focused on that as much because, again, I don't want to take away what makes him special and his ability to play on the edge. And like he said, let's go get it. When he's ready to go get it, then you can't take that away from him.
So if you hurdle somebody, you wince and don't look the other way.
Obviously, I think we'll kind of have that momentary holding of our breath, but at the end of the day, that's what makes him special, and you can't take that away from him. It's the same thing with Choice, getting Choice back in there and pushing him just as hard. Understand that structurally everything's fixed. The biggest thing for you is just that mental hurdle, and I don't think that Deshaun's had that mental hurdle at all.
You mentioned Noah Green. Where does he stand in the pecking order? Is there a chance he could wind up redshirting this year?
You know, he's a guy that with where we're at, we feel like we could probably get a redshirt year for him. But again, that could change just depending upon how we stay healthy up front.